I want to take a couple of seconds to get us started here this morning. We started a little late just because of getting everybody here with the weather, and we are so grateful for those of you who showed up this morning, parents and family, and the mentors and the leadership students. My name is Glen Gray. I'm the principal here at Honokaa High and Intermediate School, and I'm lucky to have that privilege to be here. And to be here with you today. Back there in the back, the tall kind of young-looking guy back there is Mr. Brown. He's our vice principal. It's going to seem a little bit, I don't know how I want to say it. This is the first time we've ever done this kind of assembly, which is kind of the theme for a lot of the things that have been going on this year, and that the young people here in this room have been helping with so much. And there's so much that's going on at the school that's really positive and moving along terrifically, and the biggest drivers of those improvements are the students you see sitting in this room. And they've played a huge role here at the school. So I'd like to say welcome. And our first speaker today, and then I'll come back with a few other things, is our complex area superintendent. We're so fortunate to have his support for all the things we're doing, and that's Mr. Souza.
Gray, Honokaa High School, Ms. Kawachika, and Ms. Brandt for this opportunity. Normally, I have an opportunity to speak quite often to groups and to make presentations. It's more often than not about DOE budget and DOE politics and the bureaucratic mess that we're in right now. So it's really refreshing to be able to come and speak to a group of students who are leaders and a group of parents who are supporting their students in that leadership opportunity. So I thank you, Mr. Gray, for this opportunity. It's really my pleasure to be here. Just a couple of things I wanted to say about leadership. I'm going to leave you with 3 messages about leadership by way of thanking you guys for what you're doing. The first thing I think that's important for us to understand is that there's a dichotomy in terms of our understanding of what leadership is, or what it means, what a leader really is. Now, on one hand, we think oftentimes or make this assumption that leaders lead people. But leaders really don't lead people. Leaders lead through people. And one of the things that's really encouraging to me about the work that Mrs. Brandt is doing, the work that this mentoring program that Mrs. Kawachika is doing, is that exactly what you're doing. You're leading through people. The work you're doing, young guys, is that you're encouraging, inspiring, enabling those people, those young people you're working with, to become their own leaders, to become their own problem solvers, their own thinkers. So that first message about leadership is so important. Don't think about leading people, but think about leading through people. The second thing I want to say about leadership to you is a reflection that I have about the work that Mahatma Gandhi was doing in India during the time of the Indian Revolution, as they were trying to free themselves from the colonial grasp of the British Empire. And Gandhi kept reminding his folks, the people that he was leading, that you have to be the change you want to see. Leaders don't talk about change, and they don't beat their chests concerning themselves about what is impossible. Rather, what leaders do is they be the change. You have to be the change you want to see. You have to model that change. You have to model that leadership. And again, that's what you guys are doing in the work you're doing here at school. The last thought I had about leadership, and Mrs. Brandt and I, maybe Mrs. Brandt will remember this, but some years ago at the Cathedral Theater, there was something going on, and I was asked to say a few words, and I was thinking about what I was going to say. So I was just driving up the hill, coming back from Kona to Waimea. I was listening to Leahy and Leahy on the radio. These are these sportscasters, the father and the son. They talk about sports all the time. I was listening to it, and they were talking about why go to college. What's the reason for going to college? And what I would suggest to you guys, because I know I'm talking to a group of young people who will probably all be going to college in the next year or two, is that leadership and college are synonymous. What I think is important for you to understand, my context of it is, don't go to college with the idea that you're going to get rich. Don't go to college with the idea that you're going to secure some sort of training or a job. Go to college because you have a unique opportunity to understand the human condition. You have an opportunity to lead change. That's what college provides for you. It's an opportunity to think differently. It's to make of yourself all that you can be It's to make of yourself that opportunity to create meaningful change, that change that's going to contribute to your community, to your school, to your government, to your larger society. So 3 thoughts about leadership. Think about those things. I think they'll stead you well. And again, I want to thank you guys for what you're doing, because you're not only creating leadership in yourself, but you're creating the next generation of leaders. I don't think you can leave a better gift of yourself for your school. So I thank you for that. Thank you very, very much. Mahalo.
Thank you, Mr. Souza. Part of what Mr. Souza was referring to is, I think, when Ms. Kawachika and myself and Ms. Brandt were meeting last year, we were just talking about things at the school that needed to be done, especially in terms of school culture. The words kept coming up: servant leaders, servant leadership. And the idea behind that is, it's not about what you say, it's what you do for others. And by what you do for others, that shows them the way. And I think Ms. Brandt's been doing that for a long time in her leadership program. I had the fortune of, a couple of weeks ago, for the second time, being able to witness her leadership students serve over 700 meals to people in this community. The kids were amazing. The community's contributions were unbelievable in the terms of, you know, nothing was asked. It was just come here, and if you want a meal, we're gonna provide it. And I think that's the kind of program Ms. Brandt's been doing with Relay for Life and her students for a long time. And I think that as we were working on building the mentor program, that's what we were hoping to build, and it's been much better than we ever imagined. And I think we have 3 gentlemen in the back I just want to mention real quick who do this part for us really well. You know, as a school, to be honest with you, we are pretty lucky. This is a great school to be at. We don't have a lot of big problems, but when we do have a problem, we are so fortunate that we have people in the community that are partners in terms of HPD. And so I just wanted to make sure that we thank the officers who are in the back of the room. Officer Fernando. Officer Yamanako, who's our new school resource officer. And most especially, Captain Kane Hayaluma, who made the science all of it possible. And you know, I've been here all of a year and a month since I was fortunate enough to be able to come up here and work at this school. And I'm often asked by people back at my other school, Kona, how is it up there? I said, you just don't realize. The community support, the support through agencies like the police department and the parents and the students of this school, there's a spirit that's unmatched, and my heart is constantly touched by that, and especially by what these young people have been doing in their programs for other students this year. I want to share with you real quick a short little PowerPoint. So you have to imagine it was about like last April. We were thinking about how do we work on school culture, how do we help the 9th graders and the middle school students be more successful, and we started kicking around this idea of building on what the leadership program had already done and coming up with student mentors. And when we got to that point, we started calling students in, and I had the job, that was my job, to call in, I don't know what it was, 7 or 8 students at a time. And of course, everyone's really excited to come to the principal's office. Can't wait. Oh my gosh, what are we here for? And then they're in a large group and they're like, we're all in trouble? Did we do something? And then, you know, I had a few confessions that I wasn't expecting, but that was okay. Helped to solve some crimes we weren't aware of. But it was really great for me because I got to meet some great young people. And I think the thing that was most shocking to me was I started to lay out this idea of helping other people. And, you know, I think there's a lot of people out in the world that would say, well, the average teenager's going to say, oh, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Why don't you have somebody else do that? I'm busy. And instead, the opposite was true. People who were already busy with things like sports, and many of them were already leadership students, etc., were saying, no, that sounds good, I'm in. And, you know, we were trying then to get, where do we go from here, what are we really talking about? And we started talking about this thing called the 1 degree of difference. And that's this PowerPoint that, real quick thing I'll show you that we use, because I think it will help you understand kind of where we're coming from as a leadership group.